It's not just stated, whatever. So this one we'll start seeing some actual movements and whatever. This one's going to be actually important. Like I'm more excited for this one than the actual CPI. Like we know CPI makes the move. We get that. Like we know it. We'll have fun with it. But the actual 10-year bond is what I'm excited for to see how it moves. It's not consistent. I think that this will be one of those quick up down situations where you come in really quick, buy, sell, take advantage of that, and that's happening at noon. And that one, we have the federal budget balance. That one's yellow, but make sure you're aware if you're in open trades or you're about to trade, keep in mind that that's happening at 1 on Tuesday. Another good movement. I always like looking at that federal budget balance because typically it's negative, so it moves and it should go ahead and actually help the gold even go up a little bit more, dollar go a little bit down. So it's one of those things. If this already pushed gold down and then we have this coming up, or vice versa, it's going to be a real nice way to kind of read the market at that point on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have the 30-year bond, very similar to the 10-year bond. That's pretty much it. So Wednesday is kind of a chill day for us as well. Kind of take a little bit of a rest day there to head right back into Thursday for another red news for PPI, retail, and unemployment claims. Core PPI, and all of this is happening at the same time, which is 30 minutes, an hour before the opening bell. We have three major red news happening all at the same time. Business inventory is another good one to look at. That one's happening Thursday, and then Friday we close out with the Empire State Manufacturing Index. The last two of the Empire Manufacturing State Index actually moved the market, which is crazy. Doesn't really do that much, but it did. So correction Fridays, and then we have Empire, we have import, we have industrial utilization, and then prelim for the consumer sentiment, which this one will be good. And then of course inflation expectations at 9. This one's going to be, I think, the most important one, even on top of the empire and consumer sentiment. Inflation expectations will definitely be a big one that we'll be looking at. It's looking to obviously raise at that point. It's not going to go down at all. So it's going to be another big one. So a lot of what the news that we're going to see this week is not really leading towards the past or maybe expectation of what's happening as far as the interest rate directly. All of this leads more to as far as like, are we headed into recession? Are we in recession? Are we heading out of recession? It has to do more of that type of news. So we're going to see obviously a lot of moves. And then again, being that we're getting into the political side of things now, it's going to be interesting for sure. But that's what we have for news. I didn't really see anything really big on the stock market side of things happening this week. It's going to be more of the news side of things. And of course, if you are holding Bitcoin, if you're in it, we broke obviously that 70K mark. Obviously, we called out on one of these Sunday calls. So that's important to be on these calls. It's not, these calls aren't something where we call out trades, but if it's there and something we see, we see. So I was able to call this back on a Sunday on November 13th for buy. So if you're still in that, you are definitely deep in profits. It's a happy, nice little Bitcoin trade for sure that we're there. Next stop that I'm looking at obviously is 74 for it to hit, then obviously come down a little bit more back and forth. But obviously Bitcoin is at a rise, which equals out with gold. But at that part, I'll pass it over to you, Rich. So you can go ahead and share your screen, show us kind of what you got painting here for the week on your charts.
For sure, for sure. So for those who were here last week, my fire alarm here in the building went off and I couldn't even do my my analysis. So I feel like I'm definitely due to run that for everyone on here. So thanks, Brent, for holding it down last week. And if you guys were here, Brent basically took over and definitely set us up. So I'm going to share screen and let's dive straight in. All right. So first and foremost, for gold, if you keep trying to sell, I don't know what to tell you right now, right? I think, guys, really, there's something important for us to understand. You know, we all have strategies and we all have things that we look for, especially from a technical analysis standpoint, to get in and out of trades. But we have to understand one thing that does change, which is market conditions, right? And so some of us, we're aware that there are different types of markets, right? There are ranging markets, you know, where we're consolidating. There's choppy markets where we get a lot of liquidity grabbing, a lot of fake outs. And then there's rallies, right? Like fundamentals, times in history. And you have to be able to identify where we're at, right? And when it comes to commodities, such as gold, silver, oil, but mainly gold, obviously, is what we focus on here. And then other than that, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin for me has always been, and you've heard some, you know, big CEOs, like CEOs of BlackRock and everything, dubbing Bitcoin as digital gold. So I look at that as a commodity in a sense too. And when we are creating all-time highs, when we are in a election year, when we have all of this stuff going on, man, you just gotta keep the breakouts. You gotta keep going with the trend, right? I mean, it's just no other way around it. Until we have multiple higher time frame breaks of structure, I would not be trying to sell gold unless we're scalping. Obviously, Brent does a great job of utilizing his trading strategy with indicators and everything on smaller time frames to catch 20 pips, 30 pips, 50 pips, whatever the case is, right? But we're talking about really, since we've had this discussion on prior Sunday calls and also on my live sessions, this area that I mentioned to you guys quite a while back, of 2020, 2019 price point, right? This was basically the middle of a consolidation range that we see now looking back at it from a macro perspective. And really, anything that was breaking below gave us indications to come lower. But once we stayed above 2019, 2020, which we really started doing mid to late February, right? This was really the start of saying, hey, look, if we are starting to make a series of higher lows and higher highs above this price range, we're going to start gunning for old highs here, 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 here. And then eventually the external liquidity of this old high that started the all-time high rally back in December. Now we are broken and closed well above that. So a lot of times if we have an all-time high or like some type of external liquidity, like an old high in the market like this one, if we don't poke and drop right away, then there's a good chance we're just going to blow past it and use that as a point of support. And you guys can kind of see that from a macro perspective. We broke above, we had a nice wick to it, and now we've just completely rallied off of it. So again, for me, especially from a macro perspective, the daily, right, the weekly, the 4 hour, it's bullish. Now, I will say this though. With that said, we have had back to back, so 3 consecutive bullish weeks on gold. Started here, second one, and then this third one was just the big one, right? And we've already started this Sunday bullish, right? So for me, I do see that there will be a time to short gold because we have to correct all of this volume that has recently come into the market. I expect at some point for us to come back below 2080, but not for a long time. I think that we have set the standard now from a structure perspective to really stay above 2050 for the long haul, and really seeing gold continue to just head into stratospheres we've never seen as a civilization as far as the pricing for it. 2200, 2300, God knows how much it can go. I'm not the type of person, even with Bitcoin, guys, honestly, to try to say how far it can go, right? Can it hit 2,500? Can it hit 3,000? I don't know that, right? I just look left to trade right. And if we are in a point in history where there has never been price action, all you can do is just continue pushing into the unknown until we start getting known price action that shows us we are willing to start coming back down into familiar territory, which is going to be that 2050, 2100 area now for gold. So from a macro perspective, we have broken out of this range from a weekly perspective. We can retest that at some point and then continue. Very simple strategy, break and retest a structure, right? But again, this is a macro thing we're talking about that can take a week, 2 weeks, a month. A lot of people were not trading, especially on TradeLock or MetaTrader. We're not doing that type of trading, holding positions on these platforms, unless you're investing, unless you're holding. That's a whole different thing. So with that said, we just have to keep in mind, even now that we're dropping to smaller time frames and looking for our intraday / scalping moves, the probabilities of us winning buy opportunities is going to be higher until, again, we get multiple breaks of structure the other way, right? So until we actually have a strong drop, we retest, respect highs, drop and break structure. That will be the point in which then I would be comfortable continuing order flow to the downside. But these little one-off spikes that we have to the downside are just really the pullbacks to push higher. And then we pull down and then we push higher. So I'm just bullish on gold until, again, we get multiple breaks of structure to the downside, especially if we start trading below the previous all-time high of 2150 from back in December. Once we're below this area, right, then I will really start considering the long-term shorts into that 2080 area. But anything above the previous all-time high of 2150 that can respect that, we're bullish on it. So this is really like my next key zone to pay attention to. Anything that we're trading above that zone, like up in here right now, is just buying, 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 right? So we obviously could look at smaller time frame like areas of supply and demand, or really demand at this point for gold since we're buying. That's what I would focus on if I were you guys. If you're looking to trade on your own, obviously we have tap to trades being sent out from the team respectively. So you just got to set and forget those from our end, right? But that's really what I got for gold. I don't know, Brent, if you want to just share your thoughts on gold before we move on to NAS as well.
No, I think you hit it right on the nail, right? It's something to where it's, well, for me, like like I said, to be right, look left, right? Like for me, it's when in doubt, zoom out. So same thing, right? It's kind of similar at that point. You zoom out and what do you have to look at? Like there's nothing there. So we start going into a little bit unheaded on the chart there, and it's nothing to say, oh, I'm not going to trade. I mean, that's when the scalping side of things I think comes nicely, because now it's like, who cares what's happening? I would just want to know what's happening in the next 5 minutes for me to go in and out regardless of where it's going, right? But we need to let that picture still even play a little bit out. Like really all we have right now is that little down slide to the left of the screen that you see here. That's it. Like that's really all we have to play off. And there's not really much there either than a bear rally. So there isn't even much of a back and forth play to look at saying, okay, there's a candle that doesn't make sense. There's a volume gap. There's this. No, there's a clean drop right there. Clean, clean, nice little bear drop, and that's it. Like, so there's not much to go off at that point. So it's definitely something that I want to wait to see what happens tomorrow. A lot of the news that we have, like I said, it's not really much of helpful news this week for those big drops, like when Powell speaks or something like that, where we have like last week, that big candle that just hits the top, hits to the low, clears everything out, and now we start going off that. Like the news that we have this week isn't really painting for that. Like that type of thing, we shouldn't really see those type of candles this week, which makes it even a little bit more complicated because if we do, then we have a clean slate. As of now, it's one of those situations of just, yeah, look for little sells, look for little buys. I saw a little buy around 82, it didn't touch. Saw a little sell somewhere around like 86. Right now, we would probably be losing it. So it's like one of those things to where it's a little bit weird. I'm not big on trading on Sundays either, but I want to wait until possibly, when is that news again that we have? I think we have one, which is the one I was saying on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm really hoping that Tuesday we have the CPIs and we have the 10-year bonds. I want that news to really put us in a place to be like, okay, this is what we're doing now for the next like week. Where this movement that happened on CPI, we're gonna play it off PPI. This movement that happened with the 10-year bond, we'll play it with the 30-year bond. Like have it bounce back and forth between the news that we have this week. That's what I'm really looking towards for a bigger move to grab that 60, 70, 80, maybe 100 pip move. Is going to be based off that. Outside of that, I'm just really going to be just that tiny little 10, 15 pip scalp through all week, looking more for buys and sells more than anything. But I'm not going to really kind of be looking for any home runs this week for sure. We're gonna be careful. That's the cool thing. As long as we have proper risk management, we have our daily goals that we have to hit, either in gray, either in blue or red, whatever it is. It's just gonna be another week. We're gonna end and we make sure we do the right thing. We'll end positive, might be just a little bit, but make sure we play out the right thing. No, don't let emotions control it. We have to just wait and see what the market wants to do. But yeah, bro, I'm with you on that. We're in the unknown right now. We're discovering new places right now at this point. So let's just have fun with it. And let's be excited about it. Like we can't get afraid about it or nothing like that. That's not going to stop us from trading. It's just like, hey, we're in some new land. We just discovered America. Let's go. Let's just figure out what's happening right now. That's pretty much where we're at.
Literally. So, I mean, definitely an exciting time, guys. You got to understand, people have been trading for decades, obviously. And again, there are times where we work within price points and ranges that are already historically calculated, and we've seen how price reacts to certain areas. But right now with gold, Bitcoin, I mean, it is literally uncharted territory. So you're going to be observing how us as educators and experienced traders handle that type of market environment, because again, back in 2020, 2021, we were also there, right? So it's kind of fun to revisit those COVID times, especially with crypto, where we have the challenge of the emotional tests, right? Emotional tests for sure. Guys, remember at the same time, you know, we talk a lot about position trading, right? On these calls, and that's what we do a lot here on Akashics. But you know, at least me personally, and I'm sure Brand and many of maybe even you guys here right now, right? You can also understand you can invest into these things long term, right? You can literally buy gold ETFs, you can buy physical gold. You know, same thing with cryptocurrencies. I mean, they even just came out with ETFs on crypto. I'm not really for that personally. I'd rather just own the asset. But point is, you can kind of hedge against the uncertainty of like whether you should be buying or selling these next 5 minutes with having some of your funds going to long-term buying and holding. Because I mean, obviously right now I probably wouldn't recommend buying all-time highs, obviously, but it just goes to show you that, you know, part of my portfolio is having things like XRP, having things like BTC, small cap coins. And again, you guys can look at, you know, traditional investing against inflation, buying gold, silver coins, etc. Right? So just I want to make sure that paradigm is clear for you, because sometimes people don't even realize like, oh, yeah, I could do that, right? So just making sure you guys are aware of your options. I always look at it like this. What we do with position trading, especially like on props and everything like that, it's a way to flip. I don't want to use flip, but it's a way to multiply and leverage funds quickly to funnel into other things, right? Funnel into a stock, funnel into a stock portfolio, funnel into indexes, funnel into gold, silver, real estate, etc. Right? Just make sure you guys, you know, do with your profits the smart thing, which is putting it into more passive long-term investments. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice that we give on this channel, but you know, I just want to at least, you know, jog your brain when it comes to thinking that way, because sometimes we get tunnel visioned on, oh my God, I gotta get my funded account. I'm gonna make 5 figures a month and then life's great. And it's like, please think a little bit further, right? That's what trading is all about. You know, part of risk management is not just us risking 1% of our funded to make 2 or 3% and pass a challenge, right? Risk management is, what do I do with my profits from the markets, and where am I putting those profits? Am I just buying stuff? Am I making that money work? Because man, let me tell you, once you start to diversify and do other things, the pressure of you having to pull off your challenge account or having to make some type of winning trade happen this week in a crazy market, it goes completely away when you start to realize like, hey, I have other things working in the background for me. So I will say that real quick as we move on to NAS. I see it says, I don't really understand the prop firm. So I don't know if the question is specifically TradeX related or prop firm related. I'm willing to answer like quick questions on here. Obviously, we upload these to our channels and to YouTube and everything, and we try to, you know, really just keep it to the market outlook, right? But as far as the prop firm, if you do have some more in-depth questions, Tony, I think you saw in the chat, you know, you can message me directly. I know we've talked before. I know I'm sure Brent as well. So definitely message us in regards to that. You know, we have done calls, and we do have PDFs and pretty much everything that you can imagine, breaking that down for you for sure. But thank you for raising the concern. And that goes for anybody on here, right? If you guys have questions, Koshx related, prop firm related, whatever it is, you know, we're more than happy to connect with you guys. We just try to keep this space specifically for the outlook, all right? So real quick, we're gonna look at NAS100. So for me, we are looking at higher time frame bias here. Is we have been pushing bullish. Right now is going to be I think the beginning of what it could be a potential shift for NAS. So on a 4-hour time frame, just plotting swing highs and swing lows, we had this low, this high that broke structure. So we saw how beautifully this respected and started this huge bullish push off of there. So the buys off of this area of demand was beautiful for sure from a macro perspective on NAS. Now, one thing that was interesting, obviously, since we made that rally, is that now that we have gathered the liquidity from this previous high right here, we saw that typically when you have a strong like break of structure, it doesn't typically look like this. And what I mean is, for example, if we look at how price formed here, right? Price kind of started building up all of this liquidity, and then you see how it gets grabbed here, and then we break structure and just rally, right? That's really nice bullish price action there. And we see that once we retraced how that bullish perspective actually really held, and then we formed a new potential high but it wasn't the same way that we formed the high with this piece of price action. I think that this is really the beginning of a turnaround for NAS, because we see that we saw a nice liquidity grab, we had a strong drop, and so really what I'm expecting is if we do get some bullish pullbacks, it will be to fill in some of the imbalance and just kind of head into discounted price areas up here that we can eventually sell off, targeting this low, this low, this low, and then eventually this low as well. Because really from a while back, guys, we had this huge rally start off right here. And we haven't visited this imbalance or this area of demand in quite some time. And I think that at some point we will. And this might just be the beginning of it. So I'm, from a macro perspective, again, just waiting for some type of pullback like this to really continue selling off until we get back into around that 17,500 area for NAS, right? So again, this is more of a higher time frame analysis that I'm doing there. The NASDAQ is something that really moves a lot, even on smaller time frames like 15-minute, 5-minute. So if we are gonna, for example, try to trade any buys for NASDAQ, it would kind of be honestly right now, because this is the last pullback before we had the big push right here. And we've already seen price basically react somewhat to this area of demand right here. So if we drag this, you can see how we have had that reaction already off of it. However, I don't just, trade off of one little reaction like that. What we really need to see is how price starts breaking above, some highs over here. If we start to really respect this low and start to break above here, this will be a nice buy signal for me, at least until we get to this key level, and then eventually into the discounted areas over here. So that is how I can see the buys happening right now for NAS. I wouldn't sell it right now though. But the ideal sells for me would be somewhere in, again, in this discounted area, where if we measure the high to the low, we might get this be like a 62 to 79% retracement, more or less, and then we can take it down. So that's just the way I see NAS right now. Yeah, that's really it. So I would say for London tonight, heading into New York tomorrow, if we could stay really above this general area, we might see some buys that take us up to here. So I don't know if you want to give your thoughts as well, Brent, on NAS at the moment.
Let me check really quick. I'm pretty much with you on that. I just want to look at one thing really quick here.
Yeah.
Where is it at? This one here, this one. There you go. Yeah, so we hit a really big point for sure last week when we hit that high of that 46. That was a huge 18 462. That was a huge fifth elite wave that was formed for me. Obviously, that tremendous drop that we had for 4 hours. And then we had those three candles, those next two candles continue, and then this one open. So we have just that. I would like to see, like you said, have it go up, just like you were saying, a little bit, to then obviously come down. I would like us to see somewhere around, I think I'm pretty much what you said, right? Somewhere around that 17,830-ish would be nice to kind of see it. At the same time, it's kind of weird. I mean, with everything happening, should drop, but with everything happening, it can do whatever the hell it wants. And if I look at like structurally wise, it would look much prettier if this just comes down maybe just a little bit more for London, maybe come to take that wick out to like 17, 960, 950 maybe, and then just keep on going up. Like as far as just zooming out, looking at it from far away, like struck like the chart would look so pretty if it just does that little up, but it kind of makes sense for it to come down, but then the chart wouldn't look that pretty. So I don't know, it's a weird one for me for NAS and
Yeah.
US 32. But I do like what you said, and that's kind of what I'm expecting for two of those kind of two little zones in that movement. And it would be great if it does that. Because again, I always like to say it's more of it having to make one move Sunday over London night to prep us for the week, to have a clean week. Even though if it
Yeah.
doesn't reach our point that we say that high and low, like I say a lot of times, like, man, we missed the sell, we missed the buy, but it happened. And that's good, like, because then we were right. Even if it's like, oh man, I said a sell, it hit stop loss and it went one little hair above and then dropped. It's like, damn, it hit stop loss, but I was right. So that means that I could continue trusting my trade for the next 2, 3, 4 trades. So really hoping it does what you're saying at that point, because I would love it, because it would set up a clean week. a clean chart, it would look really nice if it just goes up just for prettiness, for content, for prettiness. I guess we try to post it up and look really nice. But other than that, yeah, no worries, Moses. I didn't share my screen. I just wanted to look really quick at that. If it did form, which I remember it did. I just had to confirm. I didn't want to just say, hey, it did hit the fifth wave without just double checking it. But yeah, that's it for me. And yeah, let's crush it. Let's have a great week. And no fear, we're gonna make sure we have fun in the market. Excited. We're living in amazing times right now. This is something that if you're trading right now, it's been years. I mean, look at gold. Like I said, nobody's really traded gold where we're trading it at right now. Like, and people have been trading gold for how many years now? Like, it's not like it's something new, but we are right now at a point trading it where it's never been at. So it's exciting times that we live on. Obviously, that technology things that we're doing, trade locker now that we have in line. Vegas for sure, guys. Lock into Vegas. Let us know once you get your ticket. That's running out. I mean, there's so much stuff happening at the same time, so we
I
need to
was
make
just
sure
gonna
that
talk about that.
yeah, we need to make sure that we enjoy the moment. Like a lot of times, at least myself, right, we get caught up between as an educator too, right? We're building an organization, we're educating, we're doing stuff in the background, we're doing so much stuff, and it's like, bro, like I'm looking at the chart to look for a top to trade, to look for a trade alert, to look for live session, and I kind of forget sometimes to where, like I said, like, bro, gold's never been here before. Like we're making history right now, so take a little second, stop. But yes, I know we got Vegas and we're going to Vegas. Yes, I know there's a trade locker, new stuff. Yes, we have new integration app to trade. We have all this amazing stuff, but at the same time, really enjoy it, regardless of if it's a TP or stop loss. Just enjoy the moment because you're going to be able to say, hey, I lived through that moment in history because that's really where we're at. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
it for me. If you want to go ahead and share the rest that you have here for the Vegas stuff, and we're to wrap this up.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to piggyback on what Brent was just saying, guys, it kind of ties into what I was saying a little bit earlier with diversifying how you look at your trading and how you're, investing. A big way for you guys to really take advantage of what's going on is to don't I feel like a lot of people just don't get involved because they think it's too late or they think that they don't have enough money to do it yet. But just keep this in mind, right? The habits are habits, right? And you have to start small at some point. So for you that don't own any crypto, man, just get like $50, right? If you don't own any stocks, get $50 or something. Like if you don't own any, I don't know, gold, silver, whatever, just get into the habit of having something, because once you like do that, your brain starts to realize like, okay, all I have to do is just add to it and stack it. And I feel like even from a savings perspective, from my banking background, 80% of people roughly don't really have more than $1,000 in their savings or don't even really save money because they feel like they don't make enough money. But you will never make enough money to save ever unless you just pay yourself first, right? And it's the same thing with trading. I mean, you guys really got to just do something, right? Because then you kind of release this like whole paradigm and fear, or just you just feel like it's stuck, right? But if you just do it once, the same way you took your first trade on MetaTrader or whatever one time, you start to see the possibilities. And I think that to be a well-rounded trader, investor, you don't have to be a jack of all trades, right? We do want to have some expertise and really double down on something that you feel is your biggest strength. But at the same time, it's good to at least dabble in other investments and just kind of get a feel for that, so that when Bitcoin starts rallying, in the next couple of years to, who knows, 100K, 200K, right? I mean, you'll look back and be like, why was I tripping about buying 50K Bitcoin, 40K Bitcoin, 60K Bitcoin? So I'm not saying buy Bitcoin right now. I personally think that at some point we will come back down to at least 50, 40 for Bitcoin. And that's where I can load up a little bit more. But the point is the same way that less than a year ago, people didn't want to buy Bitcoin at 15K or 20K. Now they're like, man, I could have tripled my money. Like some of y'all have $1,000 you could have put into Bitcoin and it'd be 3,000 right now. And there's a whole trip to Europe for a week. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm not saying you got to spend your money that way, but the principle is there of start today.